All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to talk about Crystal Dynamics. Now, we've been talking about multiple different gaming companies that all are getting ultra woke, and they basically are attacking gamers, and this whole Gamergate 2.0, all this nonsense that's going on right now in the mainstream gaming industry. But it's time to talk about Crystal Dynamics, one of the biggest offenders when it comes to woke nonsense. They absolutely hate the IP that they currently own, ladies and gentlemen. Tomb Raider Shadows of the Truth is a tabletop RPG guidebook, and it confirms that Crystal Dynamics is working to apologize for the franchise's apparent colonialist origins.
Don't scare me like that, colonizer.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Crystal Dynamics is trying to utilize Tomb Raider to essentially apologize for the game's origins. Now, the reason why they're able to virtue signal like this online right now is because of the game's origins. Because the game was so successful, because the IP was loved by so many people, they have now a platform that enables them to virtue signal with. They don't have any respect for what came before. They have zero respect for what was originally for the Tomb Raider. They absolutely don't like and cannot stand what Lara Croft actually stands for. So what do? They're going to change what she stands for. Apparently, she's not going to be a Tomb Raider anymore. Apparently, she's going to be a truth seeker, ladies and gentlemen. And yet, even though she's not a Tomb Raider anymore, they damn sure made sure not to change the name because they know all the clout with the IP is associated with the phrase Tomb Raider. So let's get into this article, guys, from Bounding Into Comics. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. It says, in the latest instance of Western video game industry's incessant obsession with unnecessary virtue signaling, the guidebook for the Tomb Raider Shadows of Truth tabletop role-playing game has revealed that current franchise developer Crystal Dynamics is actively working to both apologize for and distance the action-adventure series from its colonialist roots. Now again, ladies and gentlemen, let's be very clear, okay? Let's be very clear. Crystal Dynamics is in a position where they have profited off of the name of Lara Croft the Tomb Raider. They are in a position where they've profited off of it, and now that they feel like they profited enough and they've been taken over by certain activists in that company, they now are going to take the very popular IP known as Tomb Raider, and they're going to use it to try to virtue signal to whatever the hell they want to virtue signal for. It's ridiculous. This is the reason why Crystal Dynamics put that disclaimer before the remasters. If you guys remember, in the remasters, even though they didn't make the remasters, because let's be real, they don't want to make the remasters, right? They never wanted to bring back original, actual, real Lara Croft. They wanted her to go away the same way the dodo bird, but still, they put a disclaimer in the beginning. They forced it into the game where they essentially apologize for the game that players are about to play. Think about that for a second. Think about having a message before a game you're about to play saying, hey, yeah, sorry, by the way, you're a bad person if you play this game, and we apologize to you for being bad people in the past. It's such a cringy thing. Nobody cares about this. Everybody knows it's just a bullshit virtue signal that has absolutely no merit to it whatsoever, no weight to it whatsoever, and yet they're still gonna do it. It says, developed by tabletop RPG production studio Evil Hat Productions, who readers may remember as the publisher behind the attention-desperate title Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Tomb Raider Shadows of the Truth puts players in the role of a truth seeker, described in-game as contemporaries of Lara Croft, who strive to reveal long-hidden knowledge and thwart those who would steal and exploit artifacts for their own gains. As a truth seeker, players are tasked with exploring various locales and ruins in service of solving any number of ancient mysteries, the exact details of which are determined for each campaign by the Keeper of Truths, essentially the game's equivalent of a dungeon master in Dungeons & Dragons. I wonder how many woke liberals are actually going to play this game. I wonder how many people are going to put some sort of activism behind every truth seeker. Can you imagine raiding a tomb, and then at the end of the tomb, your reward for raiding it is a link to the foundation known as Black Lives Matter or something along those lines? Like, it's just such a cringy thing, man. Unsurprisingly, in light of both the premise of its Source franchise and the tabletop RPG itself, Tomb Raider Shadows of Truth requires players to raid various ruins and uncover the various clues and historical truths they contain therein. To this end, in an ostensible attempt to avoid their work of being problematic, Evil Hat Productions included a disclaimer within the game's guidebook explaining to players that while the Tomb Raider franchise was based on the idea of being an archaeologist explorer, Crystal Dynamics has since moved to distance Lara Croft and her future adventures from their original concept. And why? Well, virtue signaling, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to, it's amazing. It's amazing to me, and I keep saying this all the time. They will take a very popular IP, like Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. They'll take something like this, and then they will completely and utterly change it, all because some activists in their company said it's the best thing to do. They will change it, and then later down the line, they're going to be upset, and they're going to be mad, and they're going to question, where did all the gamers go? Where did all the people who loved our product go? Where are the fans? Why do the fans hate us now? Why are the fans such bigots, etc., etc., etc.? They will say anything that they have to say to make up for the excuses that they're going to have about this game failing. And even though it's a tabletop RPG, which is already pretty niche as it is compared to modern day gaming, it's still going to be a massive failure. I would almost bet money on that it's going to be a massive failure. So again, guys, it goes to show that no matter what, they're always going to utilize popular IPs to try to push their message because they don't respect or care about what made the IP popular in the first place. It says headline raiding and colonialism. The disclaimer, as discovered in the early playtest version of the game, begins with what then is raiding and how does it mirror colonial practices? Raiding, as depicted in the original Tomb Raider games and stories, involves going to ancient tombs and historical sites of different civilizations and acquiring artifacts, wrote Evil Hat Productions. It operates on the assumption of finding keepers that grants raiders with the means and drive to claim ownership of artifacts, regardless of whether or not they have any historical or cultural claim to the treasure. Then it says later, games released in the franchise have stated that the work of addressing this by having Lara Croft acknowledge her past mistakes and try to understand and show respect for the cultures and communities she's come in contact with, they continued. She has also worked to reform Raider culture and raise awareness for her peers. So again, guys, this... I can't help but laugh, and every time I read about Lara Croft, I automatically think, I wonder what Melanie Mack is thinking about this. And I know she made a video about it, so you guys could definitely go check that out. But it goes to show how pathetic and how weak the people are at Crystal Dynamics. It really does. That they have to make a disclaimer, that they have to make essentially a trigger warning for a tabletop RPG, ladies and gentlemen. They cannot stand by the product. They cannot stand by their past. They cannot stand by their history. They want to change their history, and they want to pretend as if what made Lara Croft special and what made her interesting was anything but what the fans originally liked in the first place. They are completely disconnected by what people actually like about Lara Croft, that they're willing to put out this nonsense, and they think it's actually going to stick. And again, I want to make it very clear, they did not change the name. Lara Croft Tomb Raider is still a thing, and even though they say tomb raiding is not going to happen anymore because it has to do with colonial past, they still keep it named Lara Croft Tomb Raider. They still keep it named Tomb Raider because they know that players, if they saw like something along the lines of Lara Croft Truth Seeker, the people will be like, what the fuck is this? I'm not playing this little side adventure. I'm not playing this side game. What's this nonsense? They would completely question it, so they want to make sure they can sneak it in as best they can. So they keep it named Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and they're going to try to bank off of the name, even though it's essentially going to be a shell of its former self. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.